Hello, my name is Madison Joyner, and this is my second language speaker portrait for EDEL 530. So for this assignment, I interviewed Ivan, who is 23 years old, and he attends Santa Ana Community College. He is a friend of a friend, and he currently lives in Santa Ana, which is a city in Orange County. He is a bilingual Spanish and English speaker, and although he lives in Santa Ana right now, he was born in Tustin, California. He lives at home with his family, and his home family includes his mom, his dad, and his two older brothers, which I will talk about a lot in a little bit. As Spanish was his first language, he began to learn English from his brothers at a young age, but he was not redesignated until third grade. So here's a look into the process of him learning English. I decided to ask him some questions, and I listed some on this slide. So when I asked him, can you describe how you started to learn English and when? He immediately said that he began learning English from his brothers. As his brothers were older, they were already taking English classes, and so they were able to help him out at home so he could get a head start on learning English, as his parents mainly spoke Spanish at home. Once he started school, he took bilingual classes from kindergarten through third grade. At his school, he was in a class where all of his peers were English language learners, so they were all in the same boat and they all took the same bilingual classes and they all learned English at the same time. I thought this was kind of cool so that he didn't feel like an outsider and he was able to blend in with his peers as they were all going through the same thing. Because all of the students were in the same boat, he felt that he was treated great and as an equal. Most of the staff at his school was bilingual, which made it easier for him to fit in and communicate with the staff and administrators at his school. I asked him what kind of obstacles he faced in elementary school while learning English, and although he didn't have a lot to say, he said that he did struggle a little bit with the pronunciation of English words, as it is different than Spanish. And he said he also struggled with the difference between homonyms because, as we know, this is a tricky subject when learning English. Because the majority of the kids at his school were English language learners, he said that he didn't suffer any discrimination that he could remember. And I think this is also as his parents created a safe environment at home. And he said that when they took him out to public places, they made him feel safe and comfortable, and he never had any feelings of discriminations or that he didn't belong. As he is an English language learner, I asked him what kind of support he received while learning English. He quoted that, "My brothers would usually help in the pronunciation while we were doing our homework, and in class, when they would popcorn read, his teacher would read along with them." And he said that if they ever got stuck on a word, his teacher would help us pronounce the words right, and she would also have them repeat it until they got it right, which I think is cool because we know that repetition is the best way for kids to learn, especially with the pronunciation. And when you're learning a new language, I think that having the students repeat the word will make them remember it in a more efficient way. After learning about the process of him learning English, I decided to ask him questions and allow him to reflect on learning English as a second language. So I asked how he would imagine learning English in an elementary, middle, or high school nowadays, and if the experience would be different. He explained that the experience would be easier with new technology and apps because they can help you with pronunciation, and with the new apps they can help you say the words correctly, and it can also just provide fun games for them to start memorizing vocabulary or even placing grammar in sentences. There's a lot of cool apps out there that can help a lot with learning a new language. And another thing he said that he has heard that it is easier learning a new language at a young age, and so he's thankful that he was able to learn at a young age because he thinks that if he were to learn it now, it wouldn't have been as easy, and he feels that he would be behind if he didn't already know English. So as he was an English language learner growing up in school, I asked him what recommendations he would give to elementary educators who have to teach English to children. And he quoted that he would advise teachers to be patient, as not everyone will pick up a word faster than another. He noticed that everyone's different, and some may have English speaking relatives in their house that can add assistance during the process. So he wants teachers to not move on to the next student when someone is not getting it. I think this is really important as a future educator. We can't just give up on our students if they're not grasping the concept right away. We need to keep pushing them forward and come up with new strategies or tips or new resources that can help them instead of just moving on to the next kid. And I also asked Ivan how he saw himself as a bilingual. And he said he is glad and he finds it easier to communicate with someone who is more fluent in like either language. So he said, especially at work, he works at Disneyland. He said a lot of times there are Spanish speaking customers that come up, and some of the people at the front register can't always communicate with them. So he is always there to help and can speak to them in Spanish if they're more comfortable doing that. He also mentioned how he can code switch between languages depending on who he is talking to. So, for example, if he's at home, he feels more comfortable speaking Spanish with his parents because his parents, their English is not as great as his, so he just wants them to feel comfortable and want to be able to have a decent conversation with them without them having to worry about finding the right word to say or how to say a certain word in English. Like I said, as of right now, he only speaks Spanish with his family, but he's also able to talk in English to those who are not bilingual. So he's able to see both sides of it and appreciates knowing both Spanish and English. Thank you.